Welcome back, everybody, to our channel. We have, I think, a pretty special episode. I think one that we haven't done yet, and a very cool opportunity that came up. My uncle, who knew a DJ from back in the 70s and 80s, knew a guy who DJ'd primarily through the 80s, I believe. So he had a huge record collection, obviously because he was a DJ. He was spinning records, spinning the tables, right? And this collection had been given to my uncle, and he had held on to it for decades. We'll say maybe like 20 years. He just has had this in his house. And one day he approached me about it and said, "Would you like this entire collection to go through for yourself?" Can't turn that down. I thought it'd be really cool. It looks like we have maybe 50 plus records in here, 50, 75 range. Very heavy, moving this box, not fun, very hard. And both Gina Lee's and I had gone through this and sort of picked out the keepers and then sort of the ones we're gonna pass on, because this is a lot of records, and I'm someone who's quality over quantity. I'm not someone who's just gonna collect everything that comes my way. Did you want to start off on what you kept?
Yeah. So I have Quadrophenia, the soundtrack, by The Who.
Good album. One of my personal favorites. Long as heck. But yeah, the soundtrack version, to me, I mean,
we were looking because you have the Quadrophenia by The Who, just not the soundtrack for the movie. You have just
I have the studio version.
They seem like pretty similar.
Yeah, the songs match up, for the most part. I don't know too much about the soundtrack version. I was pretty much exposed to the studio album version. But yeah, I think that was a good one to keep because it's The Who. So, yeah.
Alright, so that's that one. I have Jack Bruce, Out of the Storm. This one is just like a random one that it was just like out of here. I just wanted to listen to it. Something was telling me to listen to it for some reason. So I'm going to check this one out. I've never heard of it before.
I think cover art matters. I think if you can...
Yeah.
The first thing, we don't hear an album, we see it first. So if you could bring us in with a cool visual. Watch everyone watching, it's like, oh,
I know, but it was the cover, like it's kind of, I don't know if you can see it, it's kind of like creepy. And I like that kind of aesthetic. And then even this picture here.
When we were initially going through them, you read my mind. I was about to be like, I kind of want to listen to this just solely off the cover art.
Yeah, something was telling me to grab it and listen to it, so I don't know. We'll see about that one. I have Jimi Hendrix.
Axis Bold as Love.
This one I just felt like I needed to have in my club. This is like...
Yeah, it's iconic Jimi Hendrix Experience album. It's definitely like the first one my dad put me onto. It's one of my dad's favorite albums of all time, so I've really been exposed to this record a lot in my childhood. Yeah, it's kind of... This is
like trippy. So
it is really trippy.
This is like the right way, and then it opens like this way, but then the back is upside down.
Yeah, whenever I listen to my copy of it and I have to put it back in the record sleeve, it's like super difficult. Me up,
yeah.
But yeah.
There's a poster in here too, which is kind of cool.
The iconic Jimi Hendrix, Gone Too Soon.
Station to Station, David Bowie. I don't think I've ever listened to this.
The thing
this
about...
one doesn't look like it's packaged very well.
Whoa.
No
this one looks beat up.
There's no sleeve.
That's a disclaimer on this one, is that these are really, really beat up.
Yeah.
I have an example I kept just to show how beat up these are, because they were played. Like I said, this guy was a DJ, so he spun these weekly, and it was live Bowie album.
I have, yep. So this is David Bowie live. This is so old, it's like literally
it's stuck together.
Can't open it.
So we really can't give you the goodies on that one.
I love me some David Bowie, so. And then Trower, this is one of your mom's.
My mom loves Robin Trower. I never really could get into it. I've been exposed to so many of his songs through my childhood.
I was like, I need to see the hype.
Yeah, I think the albums are good. I think it's
she also
Moody
recommended this
Blues.
one to you, didn't she?
Yeah, Crosby, Stills and Nash. I have that on vinyl. That one may even be in better condition than the one I have,
this
honestly.
One's in good condition.
Because
oh, I think this one has a poster too.
You are scoring big time
I am.
on the goodies.
Oh, whoa. Oh, it's just like lyrics.
Oh, it's like the record sleeves.
Yeah. Well, it's
Kind of cool though.
I don't know if it's a sleeve. It's literally just a page of lyrics.
Yeah, usually you wrap the vinyls in there.
Because there's this too.
Yeah. Oh, you see King Crimson on there. That's kind of cool. And another thing I really like from going through these and looking at a lot of vintage records is this is the main form of streaming music. So a lot of the inserts on here, and anyone who is of age when vinyl was predominant, like the little order forms that came inside to have all these different records you could order by order number and mail in and stuff like that. That is really cool. I really wish.
Yeah.
But now we have the internet. All right, so down to me. I got. All right, so a lot of this was based off parental suggestions because us being very young, a lot of this is beyond our scope of knowledge. We were too young to know this, and so a lot of it, I'd say, hey mom, would you suggest this album? And so one of them is Stampede by the Doobie Brothers. My mom and dad both big Doobie Brothers fans.
I have a couple Doobie Brothers albums too.
So they told me to, Tim, why don't you give this a try? Immediately, the album cover enticed me. We see this guy here is so happy to be on the horse. He looks like he's living life. So I'm eager to check this one out. Like I said, through my mother's suggestion. I think the album, or the inside fold art is really cool.
I love the books, the book vinyls.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Cool.
I think everything should be, even if it's a one disc, even if it's a one disc LP, I think it should include the book. I think even if you pull out the one side, you still have, I just enjoy it a lot more. I think they're really bland when they're just a single fold. I don't know.
I feel like there's a lot more book albums from like back in the day. They don't really make like, too many now.
Yeah, they don't. And see, like this is what I'm talking about. Trash.
Yeah, it's...
The next one I grabbed, this is, to me, this is like, almost like a, what would you say, like a kid's bop. Of what, the 70s, I want to say? No, obviously it's not kids singing it, but this is pretty much like a hits record. Which, another thing too is, you think about it, you had vinyl records as the mainstream music platform to listen to music. And you want compilations. It's almost like a playlist on a disc. So we have the Beatles, Neil Diamond, Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, Jefferson Airplane, the Ides of March, the Byrds, Mel and Tim, Buffalo Springfield, the Turtles. There's a lot of, it's just a compilation album of giant hits of the time. It doesn't say what year though, which I'm assuming the 70s. But I thought that was really cool. 20 greatest hits. I feel like back then you probably went to a record store and saw these, and this was sort of in the pop section, the easy listening section, because it was all probably hits. Judging by the bands. Ingredients. They said the ingredients are the band. Very cool. So I saw that and I was like, that's fun. If I'm ever in the mood just for a nice, good old swinging time, I'm going to go with the Do It Now 20 Giant Hits. This is by the Paul McCartney and the Wings. This is Venus and Mars. Personally, my biggest thing is I'm a huge Beatles fan. I love, especially the solo stuff of like John and George. I like some of the Wings, but I will say it's my least dug into of all the solo Beatles. So I was really interested. I never heard Venus and Mars by Paul McCartney and the Wings. So I definitely wanted to keep it. I thought it'd be cool. And as a Beatles fan, it'd be a cool little collector's piece, even if I hate the album. So Venus and Mars by Paul McCartney and the Wings. Very cool addition. Next we have Johnny Winter Live. Now, Johnny Winter, rest in peace, was a blues, I would categorize him as...
Fantastic hair.
He did have fantastic hair. He was albino as well. Rest in peace. I think he died 10 years ago, 5 years ago, something like that. He died recently. And my dad loves the blues. My dad's a blues man, so my dad put me on to Johnny Winter when I was young. I never really took to it that much, but I definitely did enjoy it. And so my dad always said one thing about Johnny Winter, and that was he is like you have to listen to his albums live. He's better live than he is in the studio, and that was one thing my dad always stressed. So I felt like keeping this and sort of digging into Johnny Winter Live is like an homage to my dad. a sort of tip of the hat to my dad for what he sort of put us onto. So I don't know. That's why I kept this one, sort of nostalgic reasons for my dad. The next one we have is probably the best album I found in here because it is one of my all-time favorite albums ever. And this is an album I've been listening to since I was maybe 3 years old. And it is a live album. It is The Who Live at Leeds. Now this album to me, going back to my dad again, he would put this album on when I was maybe in kindergarten. He would say, "This is the greatest live show of all time." And he would say, "Now son, sit down and watch." And so when I saw this in there, I always looked for this. I could never really find this in store new or repackaged Live at Leeds. But the package was really cool. They're like a manila folder.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
It was cool.
There is the track listing, but let's look at some of the songs. We have The Magic, we have My Generation, we have Substitute, Summertime Blues, Shakin' All Over, Young Man Blues. I just remember listening to this album when I was a kid and being like, holy cow! It was really good. And ever since then, The Who, my entire life growing up, have been the most nostalgic, one of the greatest bands I've ever listened to. So when I saw this in here, I was like, finally.
You freaked out.
Yeah, I was like, it's about dang time that I found this thing. Because it's just really hard. We have The Best of the Birds. Yet again, one of the bands my parents put me on to. I have a couple of their LPs. But just to have a greatest hits by them, I think you can't go wrong. It's a cool collector's piece if you're a fan of the Birds. But yeah, I just saw that, and like I said, it's kind of beat up too. But like I said, if I find these and get them in a different copy of them, I'll just toss this one. Yeah, Best of the Birds. Next we have, this is my example of an extremely beat up album. We have one of the biggest albums of all time, Rumors by Fleetwood Mac.
And it's really beat up.
This one, I think it is literally one flap of it is intact. It's signed. It is written on with the person who owned it before us. You can't even tell which way to take it out of because it's extremely beat up. But I mean, I think it's, like I said, it's one of the biggest albums of all time. I love Fleetwood Mac. I have my copy of it's a colored version, colored disc. So it's cool to just have a normal black disc copy. I'll probably just throw it next to it, and yeah, it's even destroyed on the front. Jeez.
Ripped.
But I just thought it was fun. It was a fun little thing to have. Yeah, so I kept it. This is probably the biggest album in there as far as popularity goes. This one, this one really had interested me. This one seems really cool. This is the Roger Moore James Bond. It's a soundtrack to Live and Let Die. So this is when Roger Moore was taking on the role as James Bond, and this is the original motion picture soundtrack for the movie Live and Let Die. And the title song is composed by Paul and Linda McCartney, and then performed by Paul McCartney and the Wings, and then the music score is done by George Martin. I thought that is an incredible lineup for a movie soundtrack, to have McCartney on there. I just think it was way too cool of something not to keep. The inside's really cool. There are a lot of scenes in the movie. I think it was really abstract soundtrack. And then we of course have Live and Let Die as the main title song. We all love that song, don't we? So yeah, I think it's in pretty good shape compared to these other records. So yeah, who's that one? Next we have Blue Oyster Cult Secret Treaties. I am very unfamiliar with this album. I am very familiar with Blue Oyster Cult though. So I think this is going to be a fun one for me. If I hate it, so what? Got it for free. But I'm definitely expecting a lot because it is Blue Oyster Cult and I do appreciate their music a lot. So I'll get back to everyone on how good that one is. Now we have another iconic album, which actually not too beat up. And that is by the dynamic duo Simon and Garfunkel, the iconic album Sounds of Silence, with I Am a Rock. What do we got? April She Will Come, Sounds of Silence, Kathy's Song, of the ones I do know. Not much to be said about these two. Some of the best live performers of all time. Some of the goofiest dudes. And they're one of the most iconic albums, Sounds of Silence. I have Rich Over Troubled Water by them too, so I'll be adding this next to that. Kind of cool. What else we got? Oh, this one. This one. So next I have the best of the Beach Boys. We all know the Beach Boys is the fun, heartwarming band, but also the very progressive band. Surfing USA we got in here. We got Little Honda. We got Wendy. We got You're So Good to Me. Catch a Wave. Kiss Me Baby. So this is pretty much just the best of the Beach Boys. Not much to be said about it. Really poor condition, but I love the aesthetic of this album. And I also noticed another thing, that for some reason there's a ton of 45s just thrown in here. And if we look at what we got, we have singles by the Beach Boys. We have Little Honda by the Beach Boys. On the backside, Barbara Ann. So beat up. Don't get mad that I'm throwing them. They're just so beat up. And then we find a Deep Purple 45 with Smoke on the Water on it. We have Smoke on the Water single here. Destroyed. Looked like they used it as a frisbee.
We did that.
We did do that once. But
oh my god, yeah, this is bad.
And then this is just... But I'll check the disc condition eventually, but I love the Beach Boys. My dad also loves the Beach Boys. So, we got Loggins and Messina, the best of. I tended to try and keep the bests of any compilation or greatest hits album, so I try to keep just solely because I know that those are go-tos. You can throw them on, and they're very accessible music. And I've heard a lot about Loggins and Messina. My mom specifically listened to Loggins, so she recommended that this would be a great introductory for me, being the best of. So that is that. There's more here. I would love to maybe even make a part 2 where we go through this. Just we'd like to not have this video be an hour long.
Yeah.
But overall, I think we found some good records.
Yeah.
I really am looking forward to more like this in the future. If someone in the family or something comes across a collection they don't want more or something.
That's how mine started. My dad had his, and I basically took all his.
Yeah. So I mean, and that's how you build the collection. You like I said, we kept maybe like 10 each.
Yeah.
And then you just move on to the next one. But yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed this one. If you did enjoy it, please let us know. I would love to hear the feedback if we should do another thing like this, or maybe even hunt to buy some mystery boxes. I would love to do that. But yeah, that's all from us. We will see you later.